Hey, I'm Gordi, and you're watching 101.9 KINK Radio in the Skype live studio.
That was fantastic. This is the portion of the program where we actually get to know all about you because you're relatively new. Like if we go to your Spotify profile right now, we'll find like 3 or 4 songs. Some of them, like, you know, you did Avant-Gardener, your version of Avant-Gardener, and then some song that you've done. We're looking forward to your album on the 25th of August. Probably as much as you are, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty keen for it to come out.
Yeah. Now, this is the exciting part of the career. This is the part where we get to find out about you song by song. Later, when your albums end, you'll be depending on whole bodies of work to define who you are. And just like anybody who does an interview, you read as much as you can about somebody, especially when you're excited to meet them, because your songs are pretty good. Now, that's just
nice
one man's opinion. Let's help everyone agrees with you. What do you want us to know about Gordi from the get-go?
I guess so. Gordi's not my real name, first of all, but it's a name that my brother came up with when we were kids. My real name's Sophie, but he called me Gordon for like years, and we have no idea where it came from. And my sister kind of turned it into Gordi, and it became this big, like, my friends would come over and I'd be like, guys, please don't call me that while everyone's here. It's embarrassing. And then many years later, I was like deciding to go under this other name, and I put it to my friends. I was like, I'm thinking of going under what my family call me, and they were like, you don't have a family nickname, like we'd know about it. And I was like, I've kept it a secret anyway. And I was like, take it seriously, it's Gordi. And they just like laughed for like 20 minutes.
Is that a good thing?
I was like, screw you guys, I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, keeping stuff secret, I read a little something that I thought was interesting. So a while back, you're in your mid-20s now, and you have a record deal, which is great. But when you were basically putting yourself out there in front of your friends and maybe a few strangers, you wouldn't tell people that you had written some of these songs, and you would just basically do them and didn't ask for their feedback. Yeah,
I mean, I used to listen, going through high school, I listened to these two, both US-based artists, one called Catherine Feeney and one called Antje Juvicot, and no one in Australia had really heard of them, especially my friends from school, and I was kind of, I guess, not embarrassed that I'd written songs, but I just wanted a total objective point of view and people not to be like, oh, great, you've written this song. So I used to tell people they were by Catherine Feeney and Antje Juvicot and then play them, and they were like, these artists have a lot of songs. I was like, yeah. But it, you know, eventually, like, after probably 4 years of writing songs, I finally had the courage to say, you know, this is a song I've written, and it was the first time my parents had ever heard me play a song that I'd written as well at this kind of school music festival, and I just fell in love with performing them, so I kept doing it.
Okay. Well, going back even further to your childhood, because sometimes your childhood is where you fall in love with doing music. Tell me about the instruments in your house growing up.
So there was this one, and there was my mum's a piano teacher. And she got a piano as a wedding present that's a semitone out of tune, the entire thing, and it can't be fixed. But it's it's kind of why I love it as well. And it sits in my parents' living room and kind of looks out over, I'm from a farm, and it looks out over our farm down to the river. And I just grew up playing that, and my brother was kind of playing the guitar, so I started doing that. And, I learned a bit of like the cello in high school, and my mum was a really musical person and is someone who can pick up most instruments and play it. So I think, I guess it was a bit in my DNA, but also just in the house and good records like Billy Joel and Carole King and James Taylor and really good songwriters. And that's kind of, what I loved about that songwriting was that they tell a story in such a beautiful way, and their lyrics are so important, and that's kind of I've held very dear.
Okay, so you just basically answered my next question. But it's interesting, the way people write music, it's different for everybody. Years ago, I got to talk to Paul McCartney, and I asked, one of the silly questions you always ask. He's, answered 1 billion times and wasn't in the mood. But he mentioned that the way he got started, he found a topic or a word that he really liked and started writing a song, and then it turned into something with whatever rhymed.
I had a book when I was little, like a rhyming dictionary. That's when I first started writing songs, and I'd like pick a word and then like try and navigate a sentence to end with that word. So that was the very beginning.
Yeah, but, you build from there, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
So your personality, you're a very vivacious, fun person to talk to. Your songs are really brooding, and some of them for lack of a better term, very deep and emotional. And I find that interesting about you because I was reading your tweets just from a couple days ago, and you're really rather funny. I want to read a couple of them. I actually brought this iPad just so I could read these. Where is it? Okay. I was approached by an elderly man in Bloomington, I'm guessing Indiana, right?
Yeah,
with a bushy beard. He complimented me on my leather pants and said he had a pair just like them.
I went home and threw them out.
Yeah. And this is another Indianapolis comment. On a plane the size of my Subaru Impreza.
It was a very regional experience. Yeah.
Well, your tweets are really funny, but your songs are very deep. Do you get emotional when you write sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes, I mean, the songwriting process for me is a really kind of cathartic one, and a lot of the songs that I've written, are to get through sort of something, and it can kind of take me quite a while to actually sing the song in full sometimes, where I'm kind of feeling quite emotional and these words are kind of pouring out, and then I have to really sit with it for a while and give it a few goes until I get to the end.
You get emotional. I have some songs like that too. I well up just thinking of. I'm welling up right now. Well, let's get back to you. Do another song for us, would you please?
Yes.
Thank you, Gordi.
Thank you.